super excited to share this with you guys. I am going to be starting something that is called Prodigal Becoming. So what Prodigal Becoming means and where it's stemming from is, what does it look like to be a wayward prodigal that is come home and is in this season of becoming for life until we reach perfection when we get to finally go home to heaven and be with Jesus Christ. Perfection is not attainable on this earth, so we are constantly in this becoming phase, this middle ground of we're not this wayward prodigal anymore. We may stand back to being a prodigal, but we always are welcome home, and we are always in this phase of becoming. So this is coming from my heart and soul, guys. This is something that I have been praying about for months, something that God has been putting on my heart for months. And I wanted to kind of explain the backstory of it. So I had a mentor ask me the other day, and she said, Kayla, if you're still hiding something, there's a part of you that still believes that it's true. Now, this really pissed me off, and this is kind of why it kind of jump-started me to do this, because I have something in my life that I am hiding. It's something that it's not me anymore, but it's embarrassing, and it's something that I don't want to be labeled with, but I also know that it's not me anymore at all, and it is something that I refuse to have chains to anymore. It's something that I refuse to have kept in the dark, because I know that's where the devil plays. So I am bringing my story to light because it has no hold over me anymore, and I've been set free, and I refuse to have any chains left on me whatsoever. So I want to share my story with you guys as kind of the beginning of what a prodigal becoming looks like. This is always going to be a space of authentic vulnerability. It's going to be a space of hard discussions and taboo topics that most people don't talk about. It's going to be all different, but it's going to be about the becoming of me, of others, of just a conversation, discussion that I think that people need to have. So I'm going to share my story. This is my story. For me, I'm 26. I grew up in a Christian home, a very loving Christian home. I knew about God from as long as I can remember. However, my life has never been easy. At the age of about 6, I was sexually assaulted for a few years, and this really just kind of turned my life upside down. I didn't understand what this meant for me as a woman in this world. From a very young age, it stamped into my identity that this is what I was good for, this is what I was used for, and this is what I was created for. So from a very young age, I remember having suicidal thoughts. I was bullied. I always felt like an outcast. I never really felt like I had a place that I fit in anywhere. And I had this giant kind of just like secret that felt like I couldn't tell anyone. So going through life, at 14, I was raped. This is when my life really flipped. I could not understand why a good, loving God would let this happen to me. It's when I completely walked away from God. I walked away from my faith. I wanted nothing to do with it. And this is when I started to really go down a really bad path. Ever since I was younger, I kind of had learned that no one really liked me, but they did when I was promiscuous. So going into high school, this just escalated. It was my identity. If people ask me, like, what are you good at? What are you here for? I would probably answer in one way or the other that, like, I was created to be used. I was created for sex. which is a really hard thing for a woman to view as her identity. I got involved with some really bad people. When I was 18, I was exploited. This was a season in my life that was very hard and very complicated. I had absolutely zero self-worth. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe I was worth anything. I didn't even necessarily want to live. So this, when I was exploited, started a 5-year season of my life that I was involved in prostitution. The reason why God has been really putting it on my heart to share right now is there's a lot of people that are struggling with this right now. And exploitation doesn't always have to look like the movies. Sometimes it's very mental. That's how it was for me. And it was a vicious kind of forced and willing cycle for about 5 years in my life. It finally broke when someone that I trusted found out and told me that I was the most disgusting thing that they had ever been in contact with. I hit rock bottom when I heard that. It confirmed in me that no matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried, I would never be good enough and no one would ever want me. So I decided that I was going to take my life and I was going to succeed this time. So I took a very large bottle of pills that should have killed me, sat on a bridge, and while I was waiting, I called a suicide hotline. And they told me about this place called Mercy Multiplied. Mercy Multiplied saved my life. I, however, was sitting on this bridge and I cried out to God. I told him, I said, listen, if you're real, if you care, if you see me at all, you have until my 25th birthday. At this time, it was about a few days before Thanksgiving of 2018. My birthday was January 20th. And I told him, I said, you have until my birthday. If I don't die tonight, I'm not going to make it past my 25th birthday. I was accepted and I moved into Mercy Multiplied on January 17th of 2019, 3 days before my 25th birthday. I'm going to go into a little bit more of my story there at a later time, but it truly saved my life and changed me. Who I walked in that door as and who I walked out of that door as are very, very different people. Nothing about my past is me anymore. However, when we talk about the becoming, and this is where this whole prodigal becoming is just because that is not me anymore, anything that I struggled with in my past doesn't mean I still don't struggle. So this is where the becoming is how do you walk away from the wayward prodigal life to being this becoming of striving for perfection and striving to be more like Christ, but still having worldly struggles, still having human struggles. So these are going to be some of the topics we talk about. What does it look like to be a Christian abstaining from sex when you've had sex before? What does it look like to be single when you haven't been single in pretty much your entire life? What does it look like? What does it look like when someone you trust tells you that you're disgusting and disappears from your life? What does it look like to struggle with anything? Porn, masturbation, eating disorders, cutting, all of the topics that no one talks about, we are going to be talking about. And I'm super excited to share this with you guys. I hope it is a space of authentic vulnerability. It will be from me, but I'm opening it up as a space for you guys as well. My DMs are always open. I know what it's precious to me, what I was given at Mercy of people who love with Christ's love and don't judge and and they meet you where you're at. No one is I am not expecting anyone to be perfect. We all struggle, and that's okay. What does it look like to become in your struggle? So I am very excited to start this journey with you guys. I hope it encourages you, and I hope that you guys see Christ in this. Stay tuned for more.